mark it so I know where I'm at. Okay, so after the Dante update, there was an augment they added for Yareli called, where is it? Loyal Merulina. It makes so you can't ride Merulina anymore. Instead, she becomes a companion, kind of like Venari for Korra. Runs around, gonna be honest, kind of sometimes the AI is not exactly the smartest. But it casts sea snares, and it costs no energy to cast the sea snares. The cooldown has 2 seconds, and you can view it if you hover over Merulina. Strangely, it's affected by ability efficiency, even though it costs no energy. I don't know why. See, it's at 1.7. If I take off Burial's Hatred, it puts it back to 2 seconds. And then just to show you further, if I put Fleeting on, it brings it down to 0.8. It does have a cap, just like the 175 efficiency cap, which will put it at 0.5 seconds, but honestly, that's not what we're going to be using the augment for. So, let me put Burial's Hatred back on. Now, I'm sure other people that have used Merulina have probably noticed this as well. Honestly, I'm kind of disappointed myself. I didn't when I was first testing the augment, and then I saw later in the comments somebody left on a YouTube video over the augments. But when you cast Merulina, you still get the iframes. And it is 3 seconds of straight immunity. Now, if you recast it immediately, like you want to double tap it, it will take away the iframes, as you can see. I just double tap, I get nothing, so you have to leave there. But I'm fairly certain that, oh yeah, there's also a visual bug of when you have too many Merulinas on the right. That can be annoying. But something that I'm assuming is causing it, damn, now there's 3 of them, is it's gonna, how like something like Saren's thing has immunity time, and if it takes damage, it increases the health based off that, so it doesn't get one shot when you're fighting like level 500 enemies. But again, we're not going to be using for Merulina. The thing is the immunity. The 3 seconds of immunity. That's the equivalent of a rolling guard. Rolling guard has a cooldown. This does not have a cooldown. I can cast this as many times as I want. Obviously, you're going to have a moment of vulnerability when you recast it, but I can cast this, run about, do whatever I want. As soon as it ends, I just double tap, cast it again. Iframes end, double tap, cast it again. Now, full disclosure, I do have 2 Archon shards on for casting speed. That does help, but honestly, the base animation isn't bad, not at all. This is just because I felt like it. The other 3 Archon shards, if you're wondering, are energy max, totally irrelevant. I just felt like it hitting 1,000 because it was funny, and shield capacity. That is so I can get the full 2.5 second shield gate with just Boreal's Hatred instead of having to run primed redirection. Now, the main reason this is important is Yareli's got terrible survivability. Absolutely awful. I mean, you get the damage reduction if you're riding Merulina without the augment, but you're still going to get absolutely decimated in any sort of high-end content. And most people don't actually like having to ride Merulina. But now you have an on-command 3 seconds of iframes, and it only costs like 25 energy at base. That's really, really good. Amazing for survivability. And then if you aren't spam recasting it, you do have the extra little bubbles flying around, but honestly, I feel like I prefer to just cast her one if I need the bubbles. It tends to be a lot more effective and faster. So that fixes the survivability problem with Yareli. Then she's also got the other stuff in her kit, the bubbles, which are some CC plus damage, more damage they take. Got her 3, which is more CC, and you have Slash, and I might end up showing later in time, but you can actually make this slash damage from her 3 do a fairly hefty amount. Like, look, this, I mean, yeah, that's not a lot right now, but I have really low, like, base strength, I believe. No viral. These are level 175 Steel Path Corrupted Heavy Gunners. I think that's fairly decent. You can make it work. Then the whole with this whole augment, I'm gonna be using it for this build I'll go over right now. I haven't yet, but next time play Void Cascade, I'm probably gonna try to see if I can take this build to level cap because I fully believe it's capable of doing so. So her I don't like playing frames if there's no point in playing them, right? Like if I'm gonna play a frame that's a tank, if all he does is tank, then that's literally just Revenant but at home. There's no point in doing it. I want to use a frame while there's value in what they bring to the table. And with this, I think Yareli has some value. She's still not as tanky as Revenant per se, but Revenant, you can, if you're going for Revenant for tankiness, you're going to need a helmet to actually do some sort of damage. Because, like, yeah, you can make his 3 do damage, but it's a lot of setup, and you can't really do that on enemies when you're doing something intense like Void Cascade, right? You're usually not going to be spamming Reeve, and Thrall doesn't work on Xmas because they're CC immune. So then the only sort of offense you're left with is your helmet, which most people end up running Roar. Then you have no armor strip, right? You can either choose offense damage for Roar, or you can go for armor strip to do more damage. You can't have both. But in Yareli's case, obviously there's other frames that can do this, but she has offense and she can go for armor strip by using her helmet. She has her passive, which is a fat 200% crit chance for secondaries, which is amazing, especially when what I run in Void Cascade is the first Incarnon totally decimates Thrax, even at level cap. You don't even need armor strip. Like, this thing is just absurd. Very underappreciated weapon. But now I have offense via her passive. I can do more damage to enemies with her sea snares. That's, look, 200. Oh, I do. I have 179 strength. Okay. So, oh, yeah, I do have strength. Duh, I forgot. This build is strength built for pillage. 179, but it has 90% extra for pillage. And then if I get kills, I can build up more augmented with corrosive projection. That allows me to hit 329, which is 328 is what you need with corrosive to full strip. And that's what we're going for here. So I can full strip with this. I have a ton of crowd control with her 3, 2, and 1. I have damage vulnerability with her 1. I don't actually know if it's additive or multiplicative. If I had to assume, it's probably additive, but I should double check that later. I have unlimited iframes via the augment and her 2. Energy's not an issue because I've got equilibrium. I'm running rolling guard just because why the hell not, in case I want iframes on top of iframes and the status cleanse. Prime sure footed just because, I mean, you don't want to get hit. If you didn't want to run prime sure footed, because I know some people don't have it, it's easily replaced. Instead, you can just run sure footed. And then, where's the other mod? You can put on fortitude. Oh, great. It looks like Streamline's UI is bugged out. So are, oh wow, a lot of the mods after the patch notes. This came out right after the new hotfix came out for the new weird, like, swordy Netracell thing. But you can just run sure-footed, and then, honestly, because the energy is not super important, fortitude, 40 and 60%, that makes you immune to knockdowns. Like, people make it out to be like, oh, you can't immune or avoid knockdowns unless you have prime sure-footed. No, it's quite easy to get around that. Plus, then you get the shield recharge if you feel like you need that. But, like I had said earlier, I'm running Boreal's Hatred and 1 shield capacity Calforge just so that I can get enough shields for the full 2.5 second shield gate. If I didn't have the Calforge, it would still be 2.2. That's not bad. I just felt like I wanted it. Arcane Consequence, because you need a lot of parkour velocity to get around. It's very, very nice for Void Cascade. You don't need it, but I would highly recommend running parkour velocity. It is just such a lifesaver all the time when you have to get from point A to point B. It helps a lot. Now, I am running negative duration, which sometimes might not be good, but her bubbles are still 8.7, which is totally fine. It does not affect the iframes from Loyal Merulina. That is a set duration. Oh, actually, it's 4 seconds in vulnerability. Um, it does affect Aqua Blades, though it has a base 45 second, and recasting every 32.63 is hardly noticeable, especially since after the Dante update, you can now cast it without being rooted in place. So you can still run around and cast it. It doesn't trap you down like it used to. And hang on, let's go back here. The negative duration, the main reason I want negative duration, like I could go for something else like bull efficiency to really if I wanted to max out my duration or something to that degree just a little bit, but I want it negative for pillage's sake. Pillage has 1.45 second duration with 73% duration. That way it pulls back, I get a 2.5 second shield gate. And this has a 1.45. And it can full strip. When you are facing enemies anywhere above like level 500, it's only going to take one enemy to be able to strip them enough to get all of your shields and overshields back. And overshields is the important thing. So you cast this. If your shields get popped, you have 2.5 seconds of invulnerability from shield gate, and then it only takes 1.45 to come back. Meaning, even without the iframes from Loyal Merulina, as long as you press pillage as soon as it comes back, every single time, if you're not taking toxin damage, you're invincible. So I have pillage for a full armor strip once my mole augmented builds up, so that I can spam shield gate. I'm invincible with that. I have rolling guard if I need to status cleanse. It gives me iframes. I have Loyal Merulina for 4 seconds of iframes that I can also spam whenever I want. Every time it runs out, if you just press it, the moment you see your health bar not be gray anymore, just press that thing again. This makes for a very, very tanky and very effective Yareli build. One of the main reasons I wanted to make this is because when you try to look up Yareli stuff, most of the videos that come up aren't that great, to be honest. Like, a lot of them are people just shitting on her, but I think she's not nearly as bad as people make her out to be. Like, I see people putting in her D tier, like she's one of the worst frames in the game. She's really good, and with this augment, this is just a game changer. Being able to have 4 seconds of invulnerability is massive. It literally makes you invincible if you know how to use it. Um, so I just wanted to go over that. I'm sure some other people have probably noticed this as well. I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot to see your health going gray after you cast it, but I think this will maybe increase the amount of players using Rally. It'll might even make her meta for survivability. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I'm probably going to do another short video going over some of the other augments. We'll see. I really want to do one about the old augment for Naros that has his cats, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for stopping by.